Hey, Studio 108 community, thanks for clicking in. Thanks for following. Leah and I are hanging out today. We're excited about a couple new things here at the studio, one of which is this elixir that Leah made. So more magic potion. We want to know more about it. You want to see it?
I forgot the name, I forgot what I called it for a second. So it's called Radiant Root Elixir and it's an herbal OXYMEL.
So yeah, and then if you've walked in the door lately, you've noticed there's a little gardening cart out there. So maybe we can just
Talk
touch
about our
base,
gardening cart.
what our vision is for that and how we want to
Mhm.
share that.
Mhm.
So yeah, we haven't sat for a while, so this is kind of fun to unpack some new things and to talk about some new things. So I don't know what an OXYMEL is. So we're going to start right there because here's this bottle. It says Radiant Root Elixir on it with her Herbs of the Valley logo. And we want to know what's inside, why we might want to take it. And then you said it's an OXYMEL. So I want to know what that is.
So an OXYMEL is, don't set it down there by the mic, I think, because that will make the noise. Just place it on the soft. Okay. An OXYMEL is an herbal extract that's extracted in vinegar, raw, unpasteurized apple cider vinegar. And it doesn't have to be that, but that's what I use. And OXYMEL, so when you extract herbs in vinegar, it's called an aceta because the aceta, the vinegar is what pulls the medicinal constituents from the herbs. And then an OXYMEL is when you add raw local honey to that. So there's a little bit of honey in here. It's not super sweet, but there's a little bit of honey, which can actually be nice. Sometimes folks, so raw apple cider vinegar has like this host of health benefits. One of which is actually it can soothe upset stomach. It can actually help heartburn. So drinking like a tablespoon with some warm water during a meal can actually help with heartburn and help with GERD symptoms.
Or that's counterintuitive because you would think when you have heartburn, you don't want an acid.
For some people, it does upset their stomach.
Okay.
But for a lot of people, anyway, so adding the addition of honey can kind of help take some of the edge off of the vinegar.
Sharpness of the vinegar.
Yeah. So that's what an OXYMEL is. It's a folk remedy. If anyone's familiar with fire cider is a type of herbal OXYMEL. So this one is,
well, I really like honey, so I'm glad to have this word.
It doesn't have a ton of honey in it, but I used honey from Kyla and Beth's from Oxbow Orchard. So there's local honey in it. So you get the immunity benefits from the local honey. Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Yeah.
And then you said that the apple cider vinegar has a host of health benefits. Would you tap on those just in case anyone's not familiar? Or maybe we just need like a reminder and some inspiration to stick with it.
I'm going to go into it because it like endlessly fascinates me that something so simple could have so many medicinal properties. Rosemary Gladstar is this very famous herbalist, and she's been quoted to say vinegar is one of nature's many gifts to humankind. So documented use of vinegar has existed for thousands of years. It even dates back to like the Babylonian texts, so written more than 5,000 years ago. And then in like the Old and New Testament, there's also references to vinegar as like an energizing drink or a nourishing food or something to disinfect wounds. So, people have been fermenting foods forever.
Well, they really had to, because if they didn't, things spoiled. This was before refrigeration and stuff. So it was probably
the fermentation process.
Fermentation would make things like last and not go bad, so you wouldn't get sick.
And then from like a medicine standpoint, Hippocrates back in 400 BC would treat patients with simple remedies made from apple cider vinegar, honey, and herbs. So it's long time been a healing remedy. Yeah. And essentially what all vinegar is a double fermentation. So like you would take a carbohydrate. So like think about grapes, right? You'd ferment active yeasts in the air combined with the liquid and the sugars from the carbohydrate ferments to convert alcohol. And then vinegar undergoes a second fermentation process where it is exposed to air, and that will create the vinegar. So it's essentially alcohol that undergoes a second fermentation process.
That might be why it's called OXYMEL. Oxy because it's oxygenated that second time. Or? Okay, that's kind of cool. We can remember that, right? That's kind of cool. All right.
So
some new vocabulary for us.
Yeah. So the acetobacters, which are the present bacteria in the air, convert or oxidize the alcohol into acetic acid. And acetic acid is the main component of vinegar. Yeah.
All right. So in terms of apple cider vinegar, it's always said to make sure that you get the apple cider vinegar that has, quote, the mother. So what is the mother?
So the acetobacters form this like gelatinous mass. And in the bottom, if you've ever like bought the Bragg's apple cider vinegar, you see this like mass. That is the mother.
That's you guys, that's the fluffy stuff in the bottom.
Yeah. But it carries the unique characteristics and profile of that vinegar blend. And it's what you would need in order as a starter to ferment future batches.
Oh, it's almost like a sourdough thing. Like you have to have that bacterial base that you're working off of.
That's how I've seen it done before, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, I could be wrong.
Is that what you did for this?
No, I purchased the apple cider vinegar that I made for this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, you can ferment any sort. I mean, you could make vinegar from rice, from grapes, from dates, really anything. But the apples are nice because that you also get some of the mineral profile from the apples. So you get all your B vitamins, biotin, folic acid, a little bit of vitamin C. So you get some of those like nutrients as well. Yeah, so big fan of apple cider vinegar. A lot of times when it's been mass produced, they'll filter it and pasteurize it. It won't have the same sort of benefits.
It won't have the active bacteria. They kind of like clean all that out of there to make it like shelf stable for whatever.
Yeah.
So you're really looking for that. And I would imagine that's true, Leah, too, for some of these drinks that they're selling now. They're selling like apple cider vinegar drinks or different drinks that have, and you kind of want to look for that bacterial load, that kind of like
to see if the ingredient is actually,
it's really not just sugar. You're just kind of like buying a bleached out, ineffective product.
Yeah. Or buy your whatever drink you like to drink and then put a little dash of my radiant root elixir into it.
Because this isn't just apple cider vinegar. What did you do
to make this? So that I infused in it turmeric, ginger, eleuthero. It has some burdock root in it. It has, what else did I put in it? Let's see. It's been a minute because it had to sit. Let's see. Burdock root, anise, hyssop, orange, some pepper, and some lemon balm, and lemon and orange actually. So there's like a little bit of like a citrusy boost to it. So the idea was, so not only has apple cider vinegar been used, can we talk a little more about apple cider vinegar?
Sure. Yeah. Do you have more to say?
Well, I do. But I'm trying to think of like how it should. So not only has it been used in the modern literature, I think like the research that stands out the most is the benefits as far as with like diabetes care and as like an antimicrobial or antifungal. So, but it's also been used.
Are you saying that like antibacterial, antifungal, it'll clear your gut?
That would be like a way oversimplified version.
Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't kill all the beneficial bacteria. No, but if you had, but it's been used before. Yeah, it's been used for bacterial infections in the past.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
It was not as strong as an antibiotic, but it's kind of cool as like a folk remedy to know that it exists as alternatives as, antibiotic resistance becomes more of an issue.
Or even for maintenance.
Yeah, for maintenance. Yeah,
to keep your bacterial load in your gut in balance.
Absolutely.
What I was thinking.
Absolutely. So it's been also used for like pain and stiff joints. So when I was formulating this, I pulled in a bunch of like anti-inflammatory herbs, thinking about so many of the people that come to studio that have of like osteoarthritis or just joint pain, inflammation. So I pulled in, the herbs that have been shown to be really effective for circulatory health, like the ginger and the turmeric. So it's a beautiful tonic to take daily as like medicinal support for your joints. And when taken before a meal, you can put like a tablespoon or so in some warm water. It will help to lower your post-meal like insulin response. So it helps to stabilize blood sugar. And they find that even apple cider vinegar taken in the evening before bed, one study showed people with type 2 diabetes who were not taking insulin would take the apple cider vinegar before bed, and they would wake up with lower blood sugar levels. So there's some pretty like...
And these things are kind of like adaptogenic.
What do you mean? One of the herbs in the mix is a known adaptogen. So an adaptogen is an herb that works with your stress response. It modulates stress. Oh. So Eleuthero is a known adaptogen because it will help to modulate your stress response. And actually that one has a little bit more of like an uplifting quality to it. So historically was used for like warriors in battle.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Anyone relate to that?
But none of the other herbs in this blend are adaptogens.
Okay, so I'm misusing the words anyway, and I'm going to embarrass myself and tell you what I thought adaptogen meant, and then we can just like, maybe somebody else misunderstood like me. I thought adaptogens were things that helped your body find its own balance. Like you couldn't really take too much or too little because your body was sort of like find a balance through it. But maybe that's
I would say that you can take too much of something and probably too little, but it will help modulate. So for example, if you have low energy and low cortisol, it might help to bring that up a little bit. If you have super high cortisol, it might help to lower it down. So it pulls your body back into balance. Okay. And that's what is so beautiful about working with plants, is that when we consume a plant, we're consuming the entire plant. So we're consuming all of the structures and biochemical processes that happen within the plant that we haven't even been able to deduce down in a laboratory. So like plants are their own living thing. All living things are trying to pull into homeostasis. If we consume a chemical that maybe was plant derived, so like think about like aspirin or something, plant derived chemical, it still has one action in the body. Whereas when you consume a plant, not to say all plants are adaptogens, because they're not, I don't want to confuse folks, but when you consume a plant, because certain plants do have specific actions. I feel like I'm confusing people now, but all that to say is that they're...
But what I'm hearing you say is that when they take a particular plant constituent out of a plant to make like a pharmaceutical, then they're isolating that one element out of its natural community of elements, and then you're getting a different kind of response in your body to that. Whereas when you are infusing this with the whole plant, all of the constituents that are working together to create an impact, all of those, that whole community of constituents are coming into your body. So you're going to get a more balanced response from your body. I think that that's really important for us to think about, because it's easy to kind of have beliefs that plants are better than medicines, or plants as medicines are automatically healthier or something. But like when you break down some of the science behind it, it's just interesting to have that knowledge and to think about.
And neither's better or worse. I will say that I think the more we can support local initiatives, local herbalists, people just like working grassroots to create medicines, to create food, like that creates a healthier ecosystem And when we have healthier ecosystems, whether it is in our relationships with each other, whether it's in the environment outside, or whether it's in our gut microbiome on the inside, we're just like healthier people. So I think that the nutraceutical industry is so big, and so many people are just buying herbs and supplements, having them delivered, right, that are made and produced in a factory hundreds of miles away. And I do it too. And there are certain things that like have been really helpful. And also don't knock the traditional like folk method of creating herbs and stuff, or of getting medicine into your body.
And I mean, I had a kale salad for lunch with some hemp seeds on, and what were the other little crunchy things? Sesame, sunflower seeds, and apple. And all of that is plant medicine. Like when we eat plants, we're getting the nutrients of the plants. So
I mean, technically speaking, like the constituents that make certain plants medicinal are constituents that would be poison in high enough doses. And yes, that exists in food, but to a much lesser extent, if that makes sense.
Because it's coming in with the fiber and everything too.
Yeah, and just they're not as, I mean, like you would have to eat a ton of kale to reach the threshold of having like some sort of toxicity happen. So you do want to be careful with anything that is considered like a medicinal herb. But there's also a range. I mean, like ginger and turmeric are foods, they're versus like, taking something like kava, cannabis, right? Like these are much stronger. Yeah, you're not necessarily eating those things as food.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Well, are you ready to tell us what we're going to do with this when we get it home? Or do you want to tell me more about what's in it? Like one of these I've never heard of before.
Burdock root?
Well, no, I've never really used burdock root. So what's
burdock root? And that's also like can be used as a food. Actually, in Japanese cooking, they boil it. And it's funny because I went to Whole Foods the other day and they were selling burdock root and they were giant, like the size of my forearm. And the burdock root that I infused in that was like teeny tiny, like
you grew it down there.
Well, we grew it local. Yeah. So it just didn't have as much time I didn't let it stay for long enough to get that big. So, and they might have used a special like breed that got really big. But anyways, burdock is an alternative. It's really helpful for liver. Alternative kind of means, it like cleanses, it releases and lets go of toxins. So it's really, it's like all purpose, but,
you guys, we're getting all kinds of new words today, aren't we?
But the burdock root, I always think of liver for burdock root. It also kind of helps to move blood, move lymph. It
says it breaks down fats.
So burdock has a little bit of like a bitter flavor to it. So it will stimulates the release of bile from the liver. So again, we're thinking about like letting go, right?
Gotcha.
So, and when you release bile from the liver, then any dietary fats that you consume thereafter will be more easily broken down, assimilated, etc.
Yeah, that's good for this time of year too. Spring is detox time of year, so that's good.
I mean, always is detox time of year.
True. Okay, what's this one? Say it correctly.
Elixir.
Elixir. What does Elixir do?
So that is the adaptogen. So that's the one that will help with like stress response.
Got you. Cortisol levels, adrenal function.
Yeah.
Hormone imbalances.
But really, I mean,
there is this idea that plants grow specifically in areas where the people in that area need that remedy.
That medicine.
Yeah.
Nettles grow wild around here, and so many folks have histamine issues.
Yeah.
And getting stung by the stinging nettle helps your body like respond to allergens for that year. Kind of like drinking or eating local honey, right? Has specific properties that are specific to that area where you buy the honey from that help you with any sort of allergens that are going to be present that year. Same with something like nettles. So again, like we're not separate from these things that grow. We are. We're
a part of the ecosystem.
We're part.
These are our friends, Leah. These are our plant friends.
So some other things that you can do with apple cider vinegar is if you have a sore throat, you can gargle it with some water every, you know, like hour if you're noticing a sore throat. You could even steep some sage in your apple cider vinegar, let that sit for 2 weeks, and then use that as a gargle, right? You'd have to put equal parts that with water and use that as a gargle because the sage will just make it more potent in terms of the antimicrobial impact. So good for fever season, cold season. It can help clear a stuffy nose, just drinking some apple cider vinegar and water. These are all folk remedies. Fungal infections, sunburn, so you can use it topically. So some water and apple cider vinegar, and you could add in even a little bit of lavender with that and spray it on a sunburn. A hair rinse. You can use rosemary, infuse rosemary in your apple cider vinegar and make like a hair rinse. And then leg cramps. So cramps due to low potassium levels or dehydration or muscle overexertion, apple cider vinegar can help with that too. You can even massage some topically onto stressed muscles. So there's really a host of benefits. I would love you to purchase my elixir and try it. You can drink it as like a mocktail before meals. You can use it as a salad dressing, like equal parts that with your olive oil. You could use it as a marinade. You could take it just 2 tablespoons a day with some warm water, just as like a daily tonic for your joint health, for
How
your
many ounces is this? 8?
8
12?
ounces. Yeah.
So you've got this little jar and you've got a lot of great ideas for how to do it. When I have this at home, I like it sprinkled on my salad. I really kind of feel like it's liquid gold. So I don't usually put it on a spoon or put it in water because
it's not that precious.
It is precious.
It's good though. I like it.
I try to share it with Bill.
Yeah.
This one you said was really good. I haven't tried this one because we still have the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, this one's not going to be as like pungent as the fire cider is, and it's not as hot.
Yeah.
It's a little more citrusy and yeah.
So it's good for salad.
Yeah.
We have 6 bottles out there, you guys. So 6 lucky people can pick this up.
6 lucky winners.
And be creative with it because it is so good for you. I love it. Do you want to tell us what's going on outside the door?
Yes, and then I'm gonna go and eat my snack before my client. We have a little raised bed that we are going to be growing some herbs in that you can take little clippings of and go home and make tea with your herbs.
I love that. I love that. So you've got calendulum.
I don't think we're going to be putting that one out there. I'm not sure yet. I think we're probably will just do lemon balm in thyme.
Lemon balm and thyme.
Yeah.
So we're going to put a sign up so that you guys kind of know what to do with it. We're going to give it a few weeks to get strong and kind of establish.
That's the thing with making teas with fresh herbs is you need so much of it, but you can take a good, like if you muddle some, put like sub boiling water on top, cover it, let it cool, and then drink it when it's cool. It will be beautiful, even if it's subtle.
And so when she says muddle it, that means you smash it and kind of mash up the leaves in the bottom of the cup. We have to like help people, Leah. I didn't know what muddled was. Maybe everyone knows.
All right.
Are we good?
I've got to run, so I think we're good.
That's it. That's all she has to say for us. I told you it's hard to catch her, but we did it today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Thanks for
Bye.
Out you go.
Well, I'm not leaving. I just